If this video reached you, it's because you urgently need to watch it. If you're over 40, pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Some exercises seem beneficial, but are literally making you age faster. It might sound like a joke, but this is proven. And the worst part, you don't even notice. Many people keep training the same way they did at 20, not realizing their body changes, and their workouts must adapt. Today, I'll show you 4 exercises that are wrecking your body, and over time, may be destroying your joints and accelerating wear and tear. Stay with me until the end because what I'll reveal will change how you train. I always bring this kind of content to help you with your workouts, so don't miss any new videos. Subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into the first exercise. Exercise 1. Flat barbell bench press. Let's cut to the chase. The first exercise you need to rethink if you're over 40 is the flat barbell bench press. Yes, that classic move everyone does, thinking it's mandatory for building chest muscle. But here's the truth. The barbell bench press, as most people perform it, is one of the biggest saboteurs of joint health for those over 40. You might not feel it now, but over time, it takes its toll. The reason is simple. The barbell locks your arms into a fixed path. You lose freedom of movement. And for your shoulders, this is a serious issue, because your shoulder isn't a joint designed to be forced in a straight line. It needs mobility, slight rotation, subtle adjustments during the movement. With the barbell, all of that disappears. And the shoulder joint, already losing mobility with age, starts to suffer. Now think about it. If you already have a history of shoulder pain, bursitis, tendinitis, or even natural wear and tear from aging, the flat barbell bench press won't help. It'll accelerate inflammation. And worse, the more inflammation in your body, the more cortisol. High cortisol makes you lose muscle mass, accumulate fat, and age faster. It's a chain reaction. Another key point. This exercise requires scapular control, core engagement, and proper elbow positioning. When you're young, your body compensates. But after 40, compensation turns into injury. So you keep training, thinking you're doing it right, and your shoulder starts protesting. First with discomfort, then with pain, then with time off. This is far more common than you think. So what's the solution? Remove the bench press from your routine? Not necessarily. The idea is to adapt, not eliminate. Switching to dumbbell bench presses solves much of the problem. With dumbbells, you can adjust your grip, path, and arm angle. You can do it on an incline or decline bench, depending on your focus. Another great option is the converging machine press. It offers more stability, reduces risk, and still effectively targets the chest. I'll go further. If your focus is hypertrophy and joint health, start prioritizing exercises that respect your body's individuality. Because it's not about lifting more weight. It's about lifting the right weight the right way at the right time in your life. Don't confuse heavy training with smart training. And at 40 plus, smart training is what preserves your joints, maintains your strength, and lets you train consistently, which is what truly delivers results. Exercise 2. Leg press with excessive load. This is one of the gym's favorites. Many love the leg press because it's where you can stack plates, make noise, and show off strength. But after 40, this obsession with load at any cost becomes a serious risk. And I'll explain why. On the leg press, what should be an exercise to strengthen the lower body, primarily the quadriceps and glutes, often turns into a biomechanical disaster when done incorrectly. And the most dangerous part is that this mistake is silent. You don't feel it right away, but you feel it later. It starts with knee pain, discomfort in the lower back. And before you know it, you're sidelined by injury. Most people over 40 have already lost some mobility in their ankles, hips, and even their thoracic spine. This is natural over time, especially if you've spent years without stretching, strengthening your core, or leading a more sedentary lifestyle. And the leg press demands exactly that. Mobility. Without mobility, what happens? Your body compensates. And guess where that compensation ends up? In the knees and lower back. When you go too deep on the leg press or use too much weight without control, what happens is that the pelvis tilts, the lower back loses support on the bench, and the intervertebral disc suffers absurd pressure. This can cause hernias, protrusions, or nerve compression. And the knees. They bear the force without stability, leading to microtraumas, cartilage wear, and tendon inflammation. Now think, all this adds up over time. It's not one repetition that hurts. It's months, years repeating the movement with excessive weight and lack of awareness. Then comes a moment when the body screams, and you wonder, what did I do wrong? Was it the workout? No, it was how you trained. And here's the key point. It's not that the leg press is bad, it's how it's done that becomes dangerous, especially after 40. The good news is, there's a way to do it safely. First, reduce the load. Don't train for ego, train for health. A well-executed leg press with less weight is far more valuable than one loaded with plates and destroyed joints. Second, limit the range of motion. You don't need to bring your knees to your chest. Maintain control, keep your lower back on the bench, and engage your core. Third, evaluate whether this exercise is really delivering what you need. In many cases, it's better to switch to options that work the legs more functionally and safely. Supported lunges, dumbbell squats, leg extensions with focused contraction, weighted hip thrusts. These are all efficient exercises with less risk and more control. And here's something almost no one talks about. Excessive load accelerates aging. Yes, because when you push your body beyond its limits, it responds with inflammation. And chronic inflammation triggers joint diseases, fluid retention, muscle loss, and even hormonal issues. In other words, you train wanting to improve, but end up aging faster by ignoring your body's signals. Want real strength? Real muscle? Then train with awareness. The right weight is the one that stimulates without destroying. You don't need to prove anything to anyone at the gym, but you do need to preserve your health to keep training at 50, 60, 70 with autonomy and quality of life. Exercise 3. Barbell bent over row. This is the classic exercise known for strengthening the back, and it really does, if done correctly. But the question is, are you actually doing it right? Or are you putting your lower back at risk every time you grab the bar? The barbell bent over row is an exercise that demands much more than strength. It requires stability, body awareness, and a highly engaged core. And that's exactly where the problem lies for those over 40. Over time, we naturally lose mobility in the hips, thoracic spine, and strength in the deep abdominal muscles. This is normal, but the bent over row puts your body in a vulnerable position. Torso leaning forward, legs slightly bent, weight pulling downward. And all the responsibility falls on your back, literally. If your core isn't engaged the entire time, the pressure goes straight to the lower back. And if you don't maintain a neutral spine, without compensating with your neck or thoracic region, the risk of injury skyrockets. Your body might hold up for a while, but it starts with that mild discomfort. Then comes the pain. Next, inflammation. And before you know it, you can't even bend down to pick up a bag off the floor without your lower back locking up. This happens because the bent over row, done the traditional way, demands a very high level of technical skill. It's not just about pulling the bar. You need to maintain spinal alignment, keep your core braced, your scapulae engaged, and your elbows in the right position. Any mistake, no matter how small, accumulates stress in the wrong place. And let's be honest, how often do you see someone at the gym performing a bent-over row with perfect technique? Most people compensate with momentum, pull with their arms, round their lower back, all wrong. And it's not even their fault. It's due to lack of guidance, rushing, or the culture of the more weight, the better. After 40, you need to understand that the focus isn't just training the muscle. It's about protecting the entire system. The lower back isn't an isolated part. It connects to the hips, the core, and the thoracic spine. If you overload one area, the impact spreads to the rest of the body. And you know what's worse? Over time, this overload accelerates structural aging. Yes, because every time your body enters a state of chronic inflammation from training wrong, it increases cortisol levels, oxidative stress, and internal wear and tear. You lose lean mass, lose mobility, and start feeling your body getting stiffer and more fatigued. And many people blame it on age, but it's not. It's the wrong method. Now, pay attention. This doesn't mean you should stop training your back. On the contrary, Training your back is essential for posture, spinal protection, and muscular balance, but there are much safer ways to do it. Want to train safely? Swap the bent-over row for a unilateral dumbbell row with bench support. This variation takes the lower back out of the equation, allows full focus on back contraction, and even improves your body awareness. Another excellent option is the seated cable row, where you maintain an upright posture with full control over the load and movement. There's also the lat pull-down, which, when done correctly, effectively activates the latissimus dorsi with minimal injury risk. And here's an important detail. Don't confuse machine with easy training. What defines workout intensity isn't the type of equipment, but the quality of execution. You can have a brutal workout with moderate weight, as long as you do it with focus, control, and purpose. Exercise 4. Traditional floor crunch. If there's one exercise that seems harmless but might be doing more harm than good after 40, it's the traditional floor crunch. That repetitive movement, lying down, lifting your torso, which many people do thinking it will define their abs. The truth is simple. This exercise, aside from being inefficient for those seeking real results, can put your cervical spine and lower back at risk, especially if you already have limitations, wear and tear, or simply don't know how to perform it correctly. Let's break it down. When you lie on the floor and start doing trunk curls, the movement often fails to effectively activate the deep abdominal muscles, which are the ones that truly matter for protecting your spine, stabilizing your torso, and improving posture. What happens instead is that most people end up relying far more on their hip flexors, particularly the muscle called the psoas, than their actual abs. And that's where the problems begin. The psoas, when tight and shortened, pulls the lumbar spine forward, exaggerating its curve. This creates compression in the intervertebral discs, discomfort, pain, and over time, inflammation. Beyond that, if you pull your neck to assist in the movement, which is very common, it starts creating tension in the cervical spine, leading to headaches, neck stiffness, and even tingling in the arms. Now answer me, is it worth keeping this exercise in your routine, knowing it doesn't deliver what it promises and could even hurt you? And before anyone says, "But I've always done it and never had a problem," let me tell you this. The problem doesn't appear the next day. It accumulates. What's just discomfort today could turn into an injury tomorrow. And after 40, any recovery is slower. You can't play around with this. The good news? There are much safer and more efficient ways to work your abs. And I'm not talking about fancy exercises. I'm talking about simple, controlled, and intelligent movements. The isometric plank, for example, is one of the most complete exercises for the core. It works the abs, lower back, glutes, and even the shoulders, all at the same time. And the best part? No impact on the spine. Another excellent option is the supported leg raise, lying on a bench with your lower back well supported and a conscious contraction of the abs. This movement effectively activates the lower abs, improves stability, and drastically reduces the risk of lower back strain. You can also use an inclined bench with full control of the movement, doing short trunk curls focused entirely on contraction. No excessive lifting, no momentum. It's about quality, not quantity. It's time to leave behind traditional crunches, which just repeat what was taught decades ago, and start training your core responsibly and efficiently. Because a strong core is what will allow you to do other exercises with more stability, avoid injuries, and even improve your posture in daily life. If you've made it this far, it's because you care about your health, and that already puts you ahead of most people. Now you know, not every exercise is for every stage of life. After 40, the focus must be on training intelligently, respecting your body, and aiming for longevity. These 4 movements, when poorly executed, only accelerate what we want to avoid: pain, limitations, and premature aging. The choice is yours. Keep training, yes, but the right way. Because it's possible to progress, gain muscle, strength, and quality of life with awareness and discipline. If you know someone who needs this video, share it with them. They'll surely appreciate it. See you next time.